Hello, everyone. Welcome to our first live stream of the year. My name is Wes, and I will be your host. And today we have three amazing members of the team at 3D&I. Seb, our VP, Vice President, that is, of 3D and Immersive at Adobe. Jérémie, Principal Product Manager, and Valéria, Technical Artist and Product Manager on Painter. We also have our main man, Vincent, and the amazing Marine rocking the chat. So send your questions and we'll have a Q&A afterwards. We are thrilled to share with you some exciting things we've been working on. So I just want to say welcome, team, to, again, the first live stream of the year. It's so awesome to be here. It's an honor to be able to sit and hang out with all you guys.
Thank you, Wes. Yeah, we're excited.
Thanks, Wes. Yeah.
Stuff to show today.
Well, let's just jump right into it. So like I said, let's jump in with a few words from Seb and then a community showcase where he's going to highlight some of the amazing works from our awesome community. So Seb, when you're ready, just jump right in.
All right. Thank you, Wes. Hello, everyone. So I am Sébastien. I'm indeed the VP, the Vice President, that is, of the new 3D Immersive division at Adobe. Very happy to be here. All right, it's been quite a year. It's not done. We're not done yet, and I want to make sure, hopefully, you are all doing well. But first, I wanted to also extend a big thank you to the team. Like, I'm very, very fortunate to work with such a team. We've been producing amazing things this year, even though the environment has been like complicated, right? So it's been challenging and trying for everybody, including us. So thank you to the team first. I want to express that, and you will see it shows like what we've been producing, what we'll be demoing today is actually the result of people working from home, doing what they can, and it's incredible. So I'm very, very fortunate to work with such a team. So we have indeed a lot of things to show you today. We won't show you everything we have for you for this year, but you will see we will open the kimono a little bit, and we will show you some amazing things. First, I'd like to, as we do every time, I'd like to pay tribute to our community of users, which is always incredible. It's like it's one of the way we measure if what we're doing is good, right? It's at least I speak for myself, I speak for the team here. We like it when we see the amazing creations that our users produce and do. It's the best, right? And if it's a lively community, it's even better. And we like to think we do have a very, very lively community. And these numbers show that a little bit. Like Instagram grew so fast last year. We have now 225,000 followers on Instagram, and on Discord. The Discord community is amazing. There has been like 25,000 artworks posted on ArtStation, including that have been producing using Substance. These numbers are staggering. They're amazing. A good sign also that the community is very vibrant, and we cannot be more proud is the result of the Meatmap 2 contest that we did earlier, a few months ago, and we had like 1,200 entries for this contest, which is one of the best, one of the biggest numbers out there, right? For a 3D contest. It's amazing, and I strongly invite you to look at all the incredible creations that all of you and the participants have been creating. It's amazing. Also, something we are very fond of is like these crazy graphs, and we call that the Insanity Awards, and it's the most incredible work done with Substance Designer, and using graphs, producing this type of art. Here you can see from Andrea Savchenko, this amazing embroidery done only with a procedural texture, right? So it's that graph producing that image here, and it's amazing. We have another example, which is very, very good also. Andrei Zelenko, very famous in the community as well, who's been like pushing the boundaries and the limits of Substance Designer, and the way, I mean, how you can do this type of thing, like the fluid dynamics, fractals, all programmed using graphs and pixel processors and FX maps inside of a Substance Designer. This is humbling, in fact, to see that level of mastery. And so we announced the winners for last year's contest. It's not a contest really. It's like just a realization of like what the community is producing and trying to again pay tribute to that. So that's amazing to watch. This also, we've been super active when it comes to communication overall. And the next slide in the next video actually shows that. This is the magazine. So we have a magazine on our website, and we've been producing so much content, and this is incredible. I strongly invite you to look at what have been done. Also, we've been producing a lot of live streams with super talented artists, and this is amazing to witness. And lately, we also have been like producing videos for newcomers in 3D. Like, what are we talking about? Like, we know like the Substance users usually they know what we're talking about when we talk about like UV parameterization or axis or transformations and that kind of thing. Whether it's a rendering, whether it's lighting, etc. But like we figure like we want to make sure 3D is accessible to as many people as possible. We feel like there is an opportunity here to grow the number of creators embracing 3D as a design tool. And so we wanted to produce that series of video. I strongly invite you to look at them again. They're amazing. They're very well done. And anyway, so that's something I wanted to insist on, like the health of the community. It's incredible to witness, and and I will come back to that. And also what we've been producing internally to support that community and our users. So speaking of community, again, I'd like to browse and show a few examples of what the community has been producing this year and lately. And this example here by Borislav Kieszewski is amazing. I love the vibe. I love the work on the materials and the fluffy aspect of that character. It's that kind of a thing that we love to see. Here is an environment by Steve Hong, and we've seen a lot of work in environment lately, which is amazing, really well done. And this is a good example of that, like the level of detail, the number of textures you have in there, the lighting, and of course the overall vibe of it is incredible. Speaking of vibe, this work by Anton Eck is amazing as well. I strongly invite you, every time I'm presenting something here, and we're presenting something here, strongly invite you to look at. Usually you can find something on Behance or ArtStation. This is a good example as well by Sylvia Mingola, and again, same thing, like the delicacy of the textures for this specific scenery. The lighting is incredible. The atmosphere and the vibe is perfect, right? It's perfect job. We've seen also a lot of work done in non-photorealistic type of texturing and rendering, and this is a good example here by Raphael. And this one is great. The next one is also very very cool by Jasmine Habizai Fekri. And yeah, it's this type of thing is also what you can produce with the Substance Lighting tools, with textures, and it's all about like conveying something, right? Also, we have a good bunch of course, creatures, and this one is incredibly well done. Like the amount of details you have in there, the face itself, and the quality of the character design is incredible. Alessandro is no stranger to our lists usually, and is one of the best artists out there. So we wanted to showcase this. Back to the Insanity Awards, like we've seen so incredible work done with Substance Designer, and this what you're seeing right now is actually one graph, and using the height map and displacement map, you get this type of result. And this city, inspired by the city of Carcassonne in France, is amazing. Like Jan Schubach produced that work, and of course, so because it's a graph, it's procedural, we can generate plenty new cities out of one template, right? Another good example is, of course, the work from Cem Teskan, which is, again, one of the best substance designer artists out there. On the left, you have, if I'm not mistaken, on the left, this is the one you get with traditional modeling using SolidWorks by Dassault System and Substance Painter. And on the right, actually, a similar or close enough result done with only Substance Designer, right? So all height maps that have produced that result on that phone. Again, beautiful work. Speaking of beautiful work, Beauty and the Beast. This again are only textures. There is no geometry there, right? So it's a nice depiction of the Beauty and the Beast characters from the Disney movie. I love this one, love the vibe, and the technical mastery also from Kelly Recco here is amazing. Now I want to show a few characters, and Victor Hugo Queiroz is one of the best character artists out there. Great to see that level of texturing, like staging, environment. The hair is incredible. All the materials are incredible. There is so much style in there, right? And I love the vibe of it, and I love the vibe of that one as well. By Simon and Meta, depicting a veteran, a homeless veteran. Beautiful, beautiful work. I mean, like it's incredible, and it's conveying so much depth to it, right? So the look is telling him 1,000 stories, right? Also, that work from Hadi Karimi, who's one of the best, maybe the best character artists out there, right? I strongly invite you to look at all of his work, which is incredible. And here is one example, Whitney Houston, but he's been producing so many of them. It's amazing, amazing. Hadi is one of the we're amazing. We're admirers here, and I'm pretty sure you all are. It's stellar work. Speaking of stellar work, that work from Zhang Chao is crazy as well. Like, and also it's a good reminder of Chadwick, who passed away last year, sadly. And what a character. And this one, I wanted to finish with this one. I love it. And this work by Niels Wallenstein is inspired by the work of Alphonse Mucha. I don't know how you pronounce it, or Mucha. Who's a Czech painter who did all these Sarah Bernard portraits and posters, and like this is like a recreation of some of his work in 3D, and I like this type of exploration because it's the goal is not only purely technical. There is some respect that is paid to past forms of art, and that it's building these bridges between previous art and current art, and I love that, right? So again, beautiful work from the community. Super happy to see that. Thanks, guys, and I will talk to you again later during the presentation. Now it's time for you to see what we've been cooking and what have been released very recently, and what will be released very recently. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Seb, for your intro and all the artworks that you showed. Also, huge thank you to the community. You guys are all the real rock stars. As I said earlier, we have some great things to announce. Today, for one, we released new updates to Substance Painter and Substance Designer. They're actually available now, so they're ready to download and for you to check out. We will premiere the new features of the tools and some new product updates as well. So, Jeremy, why don't you take it away when you're ready?
Thank you, Wes. And thank you, Seb. Again, amazing work from the community as always. We'll start today with Substance Painter. And if you looked at our social feeds this morning, you saw a new release of Substance Painter was actually available a couple of hours ago. And before we go into the details of that release, I just wanted to thank you, all of you who've kind of enjoyed and gave us so much feedback on the UDIM support that we added Substance Painter last year. As you know, there's been a gigantic effort from the team. And we had no way to know that you guys would be able to push it so far. This is an asset that's been was created by Maruzius And it features almost 500 UDIMs at 8K. When we set off to build a UDIM for Substance Painter, we discussed with engineers and we're like, what can we expect to get out of Painter, you know? And our goal with that first release was to say, all right, well, we're not going to go over 100 UDIM in 4K. That's going to be the limit where it's going to break. And then now people are building this, and we're just like astonished by actually how well it works. And that's a testament to the work the team has been doing to make the tool so robust and to allow it to scale that much. So congratulations to you guys for doing amazing thing with the tool, and congratulations to the team who's built something truly special.
Jeremy, one thing to mention about the UDIMs that, it kind of stinks a little bit is that now we can't keep the joke going of, yay, UDIMs coming soon. You know how every...
I know, we need to find something new,
It'll have to be a new thing, yeah.
yeah. Definitely. Oh, we have plenty of things in the work. We're not we're not going to run out of things to build in Substance Painter. Cool. And to showcase what's up in that new Substance Painter release that was just released today, Valéria is here with us. She's a technical artist and project manager of Substance Painter, and she'll be able to give us a live demo of all the cool stuff that's in that new release. So Valéria, take it away.
Thank you, Jeremy. And thank you everyone for being here with us today. So on behalf of the talented Painter team, I'm just excited to share with you like a short overview of the upcoming features that some of you may have had the chance to explore and check out. So these past few months, we've been working quite hard on several things. So part of it was making an effort to sort of introduce some life improvement things for people, and as well as just improve things for VFX. As you know, we've started with the release of UV tiles over the summer, and it's something that we're working more and more on as well. So a lot of exciting things on the horizon for both game people and VFX people. So I'm going to start my demo first with introducing a few features that I'm not going to demonstrate just because they're not very live stream sensation type features, but they're worth mentioning nevertheless. For instance, for the tech crowd and for tech enthusiasts in general, I'd like to just say that Python now has new functionalities such as resource management and shelf manipulation, and you can also query UV tile info and project edition statuses as well. So for all that, you can check out our Python documentation, which you can find here. And our long-term goal would be to make it on par with the JavaScript API we already have and even go further with that. So another thing that I'd just like to mention is for the lucky few that won the GPU lottery, and hopefully there will be more of you in the future, iRay now supports the 3000 RTX cards, so the new generation of NVIDIA cards. There's been tons of optimization and a performance boost, of course, but just make sure that you've activated it in your settings here if for some reason you had deactivated it at some point. So without further ado, welcome to this new episode of exciting Painter novelties, which I'll demonstrate with this magnificent little asset, which was created by one of our demo artists, Casimir. And so for this first feature, as a 3D artist myself, I was quite excited to see where it goes. And this feature is basically copy-paste effects. So now you can actually grab your effects here and copy-paste it to another layer or texture set. I'm going to demonstrate it by grabbing a little material here that I did beforehand. It's nothing really special. It was just so I don't do too much clicking around. I'm going to change it to subtract and lower the opacity because it's a little bit too strong for my taste, I'd say. So right now we can't really see much going on here because it's a fairly feeble layer. But what I would like to do is create a mask for the rainwater to gather on the edges of the roof tiles here. What I will do is scroll down to my dirt layer, which was created by Casimir here. If we look at the mask, we see that the wood here has little crevices and sort of undulations that I would like my rainwater to be going into. So to do this, I'm just going to grab the two effects that I have here in my mask in the middle. And what I can do now is either just go Control C for copy, right click, to cut, copy, or duplicate, or simply use the shortcut holding Control or Alt, drag it to my rainwater layer here. And as you can see, another cool thing that we've introduced is that it creates the black mask for you, which wasn't the case before. Before, if you had to copy a mask or do any manipulations with the mask, you first had to create the mask yourself. But now, if you're dragging or copying effects from another layer, which were from the mask, it will create it, which is quite cool. I think it will save quite a few clicks here and there. So this is not it, by the way, because I can hear the skepticism coming from from my headphones. But what I'm going to do is add a generator here, dripping rust. This generator, I'm going to put it into linear dodge because I want the effects to be added. And I'm just going to make a few tweaks here. Just change some numbers. Whoops, wrong number. Just change a few numbers because, as I said, my goal here is to make the rainwater gather at the edge. And since I have done this before as practice, I know which ones I need exactly. So, ta-da, as you see here, you've got this wet effect on the edges. So this feature, the copy paste effects feature, is quite practical because you can really, if you like a mask somewhere in your layer stack, or if you like what you've done with your layer with the effects, you can actually copy it to other texture sets as well, not just within the same layer stack. So that's pretty nifty, I'd say. So the next thing that I'd like to talk about are some improvements that we've done for UV tiles. So since we released this great big baby in the summer, we didn't want to abandon it on the streets, of course. So we do continue making some improvements, although we're working mainly on a variety of other things. One of those improvements is this thumbnail icon. So those eagle-eyed of you might have noticed already, this thumbnail displays what is actually in my layer. So for instance, if I change it to red here, you see that my thumbnail follows. Well, I'm just going to revert this change because I don't need it. Just be mindful of the fact that it will reflect the changes in your base layer, but it will not take any effects into account. Another thing that we've kind of improved upon is now you can add descriptions to your UV tiles, which is quite handy because with the UV tile nomenclature, you can get lost with the numbers and such. And what is cool is that these descriptions will also be available in your bake if you want to bake something individually, and in your export window if you want to export something individually. So yes, there we are. And a more exciting thing, I'd say, is the improvement on this hide, ignore excluded geometry button. So before, for those of you who have worked with UV tiles, you know that this has worked only for the fill layers. Like for instance, if I go to the fold here, if I have this button activated, it will isolate only the folds because the folds are textile that I'm working on currently. So if I disable it, it's going to bring the whole mesh back. But isolated, it used to work only on fill. Right now, it also works for paint and for folders. I think for folders, it's a pretty cool use case because if I go to wood here, you can see that my beams here are hidden by the fabric if I don't activate this. But maybe I want to tweak something here and it would be just invisible if I didn't have the ability to hide this geometry. So yeah, that's a pretty cool feature we've introduced here. We also made a small addition to the shelf, small but very, very cool addition to the shelf in the tools section. So we've got 3 new stitch tools right here. So to demo this, I'm just going to go grab a fabric material. Anything will do. Before dragging it, I'll just press Alt first because I want it to be like a decal on my mesh. It's a little bit too big for my liking, so just gonna make it smaller, rotate it a bit, just so it's a bit more interesting to look at, and change its color slightly so it just pops a little, and maybe the opacity so it doesn't stand out so much against the background. And just to make it look a bit more natural on the surface, I'm gonna add the wrap modifier the warp modifier, change the source styling real quick here, and maybe up the intensity. As you can see, it just makes the edges a little bit more organic, and they blend in just better with its surroundings. So now that's done, and I'm happy with what it looks like for the moment. What I'm going to do is add a paint effect. Go to my tools and select this stitch tool here. Gonna go with this one, but you can check out the two other ones, and all of them, as you will see, have quite a bit of presets. There is like an endless list of presets. So as you can imagine, you can do really quite a lot of variations if you just take time to tweak these parameters. So I think you can really do a lot with this. So now I'm going to draw my stitches, and with just a few clicks, I've got a patch on my windmill, and that was very, very easy and painless. And I think it's going to make people's lives easier, especially those who work a lot with fabric, as they won't need to either buy or create stitches on their own. They really can just tweak the multitude of parameters and have so many variations just with that. And my last but not least feature that I'd like to show you is a pretty big one. I'd say it's the star of the show, in my opinion. So let's go back to our rainwater layer here. So right now, my rainwater is pretty much from the entirety of my asset, which I do not necessarily want, because if we disable it and look at the asset, it becomes much darker. So I find it much more interesting just on the roof, and I don't necessarily want it elsewhere. So of course, the old way would be creating a couple of folders, maybe if your IDs are down straight and you've got everything set up properly, you'll just go through that kind of pipeline. But now we can do it much easier if we click onto what we now call the geometry mask. So previously it was known as the UV tile mask, but now we have rebaptized it geometry mask, because not only does it do UV tiles now, but if you go in this little menu here, you can also select by mesh names. So as you see right now, Painter basically recognizes all the mesh parts that my asset is made up of, and I can select any of them, parts, etc. And the best part is that I do not need to have a UV tile project to do this anymore. I can really create masks with just regular non-UV tile projects. So for my purposes here, I'm going to exclude all. Just going to visualize my 2D view here as well, so you can see. So this is the part that I need, and the way I can select it is just by clicking it here or in the 2D view. Or if I have a specific type of assets and I have things aligned properly, I can also use rectangular selection, both in 2D and in the 3D viewport to select things. Right now, I'm happy with it as is, but I also can go into the list. If I have a very long list and I know what I'm looking for, I can maintain Alt to solo select one of the mesh parts that I have here. So this also works for UV tiles, for those of you who prefer to work in UV tile mode. So yes, and here is my roof isolated. And one cool thing is that you can right click on the geometry mask, copy it, and reuse it in another layer if you so wish to, if you've isolated the parts that you wanted to work on. So this is it for me. Thank you for listening and coming, and I hope you will enjoy using these features as much as I've enjoyed working on them and demonstrating them right now. So back to you, Jeremy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Valeria. Awesome demo. Really a lot of cool stuff in the new release. I'll just do a little recap here what we just showed. So we have the geometry masking that allows you to mask and hide different part of the mesh. That's something that people have been asking for a very long time. Copy and pasting effect, being able to drag and drop or copy, paste, cut effects from a layer to another or from a texture set to another. Those layer stack improvements with the little thumbnail that appears now for the fill layers. Those little improvements for the UDIM workflow as well that Valeria showed, being able to have description to the UDIM and things like this. That Python API update, those new stitching tools are really useful, and that IRE update allows us to take advantage of those high-end GPUs. So talking about the stitching tools, we've actually partnered with 3D designer Jean-Francois Bozek on a smartwatch design that he built And that design actually, to build that in 3D, you actually use some of those new features, including the new stitching tools. So there's a really cool video showcasing the watch. So let's watch that. Awesome video. Amazing, like, detail in the materials and the stitching. And if you want to dive a little deeper into how this was built, you can head over to the magazine, and I think we'll post the link in the chat. We have a very long article that goes in deep, really deep into the original design process, from the sketches to design in the CAD software to texturing, rendering, and all that. It's super interesting. All right, we're done with Painter. Let's switch over to Substance Source. Amazing video. So what we just saw was first a recap of kind of all the materials that we've been released the past year on Substance Source. And then that packaging video, we're just always amazed instantly, even when the source team comes up with those videos. This one built with Ronan Mahon. The quality of what they produce is just blowing us away every time, every new releases. Great job by the source team. So this was what we released the past year, but of course the team just never stops, never rests. There's tons and tons of amazing new materials coming up this year as well. And this is a sneak peek of what's coming. Next month, we'll have new procedural letters, as you can see on the left here. And we will also add more than 650 new fully scanned materials. So we had a lot of procedural materials and parametric materials on source until now, but that few scans. We're fixing that with tons and tons of super high quality scan materials. So we'll keep you posted, but this is really exciting stuff coming to Substance Source. Next up is Substance Alchemists. And for Alchemist, we don't have any great news to show you today. Just the team is super hard at work on the next release of Alchemist. It's just not ready to show just yet. So we just wanted to give you kind of a recap of what's been added to Substance Alchemist recently, the past year. And typically the latest release that was last fall, we had new Atlas creation tools that allows you to easily go from scans elements to creating full atlas and using them in your material mixes. We also improved the AI delighting and image to material. And that's, again, since AI based, something that we improve over time, over and over again. So you can expect future release of Alchemist to keep on improving on the quality of those filters. We added tons of new filters. The thumbnail were improved, so now we have thumbnail with displacements and shadows that looks much nicer than it used to look. And we also added Chinese localization. So again, nothing new to show this time, but we have very exciting stuff that's being built by the Alchemist team for this year. Next up, we'll talk about Substance Designer. And so for Substance Designer, you see all these colorful mice here, and that's because this new release of Substance Designer is bringing Pantone spot color support. So again, this is for those of you who are not familiar with Pantone, this is a way for designers and for people working with actual real-life objects to make sure that colors that is set up while they in the concept phase or in the design phase flow through the pipeline all the way up to the actual final physical object that will be sold in store. And so it's very important inside of Substance Design when you generate and build these material libraries that those colors are very consistent. And so now with that Pantone support, we can ensure that. So we'll have some videos to show you after that. Second feature that we're super excited about is disabling nodes. Again, it's something that people have been asking forever. For Substance Designer, you can now disable nodes on the fly with just a simple keystroke in Substance Designer. And finally, you can also export tessellated and displaced geometry from the 3D view. That's something we added in Substance Painter last year, and that's now available in Substance Designer. So this is what Pantone looks like on the right in Substance Designer. And you can see one of the advantages, as I said, is to keep the color consistent across the pipe. And here you can see Substance Designer on one side, Photoshop on the other side, and we can make sure that those colors are pixel perfect as we move through the different tools. Here we have a short video of using Pantone colors. So it's basically a new mode when you have a uniform color or you pick a color in Substance Designer. You can choose between RGB or Pantone. You have access to all the different Pantone color books in here, and you can search by number, and also you can pick colors in any image with the color picker, and Substance Designer will find the closest Pantone color. So again, to just stay in that Pantone color space. We're also updating the Substance Automation Toolkit. It's not released yet, but it's coming soon. with that Pantone support, so you can basically batch. Here we've created hundreds and hundreds of those mice with specific Pantone colors, and that Pantone colors will be integrated in the automation toolkit. So next up, these disable nodes. So now you can actually click on any node or select any nodes in the graph and just disable them. And that will basically, you can see that line that goes through the node instead, basically act as a pass-through. And you can actually do that on many nodes at the same time. So you can just select the whole part of the graph and just hit Shift D. That will disable all these nodes. So you can very quickly check different states, make sure this part of the graph does this, especially if you have complex graphs. It's super useful to iterate and to not get lost in a complex graph. So again, super happy about this feature. And finally, tessellated exports, which finally allows you to create actual material bowls of your material, which is just amazing, amazing to see here. So if you're very proud of one of the material, you can now export that tessellated textured version and actually 3D print it. That also allows you to create potentially modular elements in 3D. Here we have a tileable texture, and we can just basically convert that tileable texture into an actual piece of geometry. And then we can just use that piece of geometry wherever we want. Here, we're using it in Blender, but you could imagine importing in the game engine and start building modular buildings using these materials as a base. So it's again, really exciting new feature and kind of looking at new horizons for Substance Designer. On the integration front, so of course, we keep working on our Substance integration. So Clo and Marvelous is one of the leading solutions for apparel, fashion, entertainment when we come to clothing. And so we're really excited to have full support of Substance material now in Clo and Marvelous. You can drag and drop your SBSR material on your garment, on your clothes, and tweak them and see that those material results in real time. On the right here, I see the icon for Rhino. So that's one of the leading NURBS modeling solution for product design and architecture. And we're very also pleased to announce that Substance Material Importer is available for free in the Rhino package manager. So you can use it to drag and drop, again, SBSAR directly on your model on Rhino, in Rhino, and see those PBR materials. So talking about integration, I'm pretty sure, I don't see the chat right now. But I'm pretty sure that somebody at some point asked, where's the Blender integration? And it's something that we tend to avoid, a subject we tend to avoid usually. But today I wanted to share a little bit of what we've been working on. And what you see here is a work in progress of a Blender integration. We can just bring in your SBSAR, change the resolution, tweak your settings. As you can see, the UI is still very rough. We're working it right now. We don't have a release date or anything to share. It's still early, but we just wanted to share that we're working on it, and that's something that's really important to us, and that's something we'll push going forwards. So stay tuned. We'll have more news later on. Next up, we'll talk about Adobe Medium a little bit. So with Adobe Medium, for those of you who haven't tried Medium, so it's a VR modeling / sculpting tool, and here we can see our director Gio Napkill working, doing his magic in Medium. If you don't know the work of Gio, go look at his art session. He's an amazing sculptor. He creates amazing 3D creations with Medium. And here you can see him kind of building very broad shape and then going further and further into detailing those assets in Medium. So if we switch back to the slides, today we don't have anything new to announce on Medium. Again, the team is really hard at work on some just mind-blowing stuff that we can't wait to share, but it's not really for prime time just yet. We just wanted to remind you guys how you can actually use Medium. So Medium is free today. And of course, you can get it if you have an Oculus Rift or Rift S. It just works. You get it in the Oculus store and just plug in your headset. It just works But if you have a Quest or a Quest 2, you can also use Medium. You just need a USB-C cable to use the link feature of the Oculus Quest. And basically the Quest will use your computer to do all the processing, and you can use Medium this way, and it works really well. That's how most of us use it here. And also, not a lot of people know, but if you have a Vive or a Valve Index, you can also use Medium using the Revive library. So don't hesitate to go on GitHub, get that if you have an index, and you can play around with Medium. It's a really fun tool. You can create some really, really amazing stuff with it, and we're working on making it even more amazing. So that's it for our kind of our news part with what the tools and what we have today. The next part is about looking at what's ahead. And if you followed our live streams, our previous live stream, you know that always one part of the live stream where we want to share a little bit of what we're building, and not necessarily something that's coming to the tools very soon. It's R&D. It's things that we're working on that may get released later on, that may not get released if it doesn't end up working out. But we love to kind of share that because it's really fun to play with these prototypes and to share, to just see what the reaction of you guys is like. What are you excited about? What do you want to see in the tools? So today we have quite a bit of things to share with you, coming from our research and labs department. The first thing is, again, last year we had Adobe Max in November. It's a yearly kind of very big Adobe convention where Adobe typically announce new products, showcase new stuff, and also show some early research from the various teams. And there was a lot of 3D this last year at Max, and showing up different prototypes. So we want to just highlight two of those here. We just did like a small cut of those demos of two of the things that were shown. The first is called Physics Wiz, and this is a prototype of basically trying to use physics to lay out a scene. Like typically here you can see laying out books on top of each other in any 3D app is just a nightmare to make sure there's no interpenetration and it looks right. Well, in real life, it's very easy. You just put the book on top of each other. So our team built a physics system that allows us in a 3D app to actually select objects and move them around using physics. So we can drop them on the floor, put them in boxes, make them roll around, put them on top of each other. And you can have very complex interaction like this, where you have multiple objects kind of colliding with each other, and you can move them around. This pen, we can just bring all the pens together and then kind of drop them into that bucket. Or if we go back to our original books, just basically drop those books on the floor, and you can do that again with multiple assets. So if you have a whole bunch of books, we can take a bunch of books and just slam them on the floor or slam them on that chair, and again create very realistic scenes super easily. That's really cool project. The second project we wanted to show here is called Scantastic, and this is us trying to build a scanning pipeline where all you need is your phone, basically, where you use your phone to create a bounding box around the object you want to scan. And you have visual guides that tells you how to place your phone to take the various photos you need to get a good 3D scan result. And once you're done, basically taking your photos, send it to the Adobe Cloud, we process it, and then you can just bring it into here, Adobe Dimension, or any other tool, and you have basically a ready-to-use scan object here in Adobe Aero in AR. So we can, we're working on it. Again, it's still very early, but we're also really excited by this project to make scanning more accessible to everybody. Next up, IBL shadows. So if you work with Substance Painter, you know that we have some really cool shadowing in Substance Painter. That basically we don't have really lights in Substance Painter. We have just the IBL, and we have that shadow system that kind of builds shadow over time, over several frames, to create those really. So the shadows are high quality, but it takes you have to let it converge, and it's not fully real time. And if you move the view, it kind of flickers a little bit. So we're trying to improve that. We're always trying to improve the visual quality of all our tools. And so this is a prototype that we're building where the shadows you see here are entirely generated from the IBL. So here it looks like a simple shadow map because we have a sun basically over here. But if we go a little further and go inside of that little house, we see that we actually have that light bouncing around. And based on the position of that light, we actually have, GI inside of here. And this is all real time, running really fast. Here we have an IBL with much more diffuse lighting, and you can see the quality of the soft shadows running everywhere. So it's not ray tracing, but the quality is just really, really good. And it works with many different kind of GPUs. Here also you can see the penumbra of the shadow, the quality of it. So we're just really excited. It also works with animated scenes, which the current shadows in Substance Painter could not work with. So animated scenes, you can actually have, again, very high quality shadows. Typically in an environment map like this, with tons and tons of light sources on the ceiling, if you wanted to recreate that lighting with actual point lights or light, it would be very complicated and very heavy. And here, we can basically have those really amazing shadows for cheap. So yeah, again, it's not in any tool today. It's something that we're just working on, trying to improve the overall quality moving forward of our tools. Next up, let's add some more magic to this. So this project I want to share with you today is called Differentiable Material Graphs for Procedural Material Capture, which I'm sure you all know what it means. It's quite a mouthful. So what's hiding behind this? I think from the very beginning of algorithmic, a little bit of history there. A question we got asked hundreds of times, and Seb can confirm, is when we're showing Substance or Map Zone before that, people wanted to know, can we generate a procedural texture from a photo, from a drawing? And Seb, you can really add to that, but yeah, that's.
No, I can add to that. Absolutely. Actually, it goes back to my PhD, and one of the thing I had been working on at the time was how to invert a process. So the process helps you generate textures, right? But how do you invert? Invert means from an actual photograph, can you know what parameters have been set for this actual realization of a process? And actually, it's a very hairy mathematical problem, and we focus very much on the generation set of things to actually, from a mathematical model, create these textures. And this is what you find in the FX maps. The FX maps are actually the work I did during my PhD a long time ago, 20 years ago. And the inverse part, I basically put it on the side saying, well, it's too complicated. It doesn't work in the general case. And what we've seen lately is actually AI is changing everything. It's almost like this giant trick that makes things work all the time, and you don't know why exactly, but it does work. And so actually, if we're being asked now, can you, from an actual photograph, find the right parameters and the right graph? The answer a few months ago would have been no. The answer now is yes. This is this one.
Yes. So yeah, let's see how it works. We take a flash photograph. So you just take a photo of anything with a flash, and you get that kind of picture. What our algorithm and AI will do is it will look through a giant database of thousands of materials and find a graph that is similar. And this is basically a 3D rendering of that graph. It'll find something that's similar, but it's not quite right. And so what it will do is it will dive into the graph and modify that graph until it will reach something that's as close as possible to the input. So you may say this is easy. It's just leather. It looks procedural in the first place, and it doesn't have any structure. But it also works on pretty much anything. Here you can see on the left, these are photos that are reference photos. In the middle, the graph that's the closest, and sometimes the graph that's the closest does not necessarily look like the picture in the first place, but the AI will will modify its graph and its parameters to make it look like the input. And so on the right side, you can see the final results that matches the photo. At the bottom, really cool thing is that you can see that the we had these little kind of darker speckles on the bricks that are not at all on the reference graph that we found, but that were added back by tweaking that graph. And you can see those little speckles around the bricks.
Yeah. And that's actually something incredible when you think about it. You're not stuck with something that is image based. you have a process that image based starts with an image, but then gives you a graph back. That means that you can still modify these parameters. You're not stuck. It's from the actual image to a procedural texture. This is, yeah, I'm blown away.
So magic. You guys are talking about magic. Then.
Magic, pretty much. Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, and here the interesting part is that we have two very different materials that we took a picture of. We have a vinyl kind of red surface, and then we have a laminated wood at the bottom. And in both cases, the algorithm found that that same wood material was the closest match. Then it goes into the graph and modifies everything to make sure it actually goes back and matches those two inputs, those two photos. And so what Seb said at the end, we're basically get an SBS graph of that vinyl, SBS graph of that wood that we can refine further. But automatically in a few seconds, it's really fast. In a few seconds, we get a match for that original photo.
And Jeremy, what you're talking about is like the end result is a fully procedural material. It's not like the image embedded. It's fully procedural.
It's fully procedural. Yeah. And this is a good side of having like Substance source, which is full of procedural material, right? So the AI could be trained on these materials, and this is the only like procedural materials library at that scale out there. And like we could train an AI on that then, and then like we could then produce this type of features that soon hopefully will be in the products.
Yeah. And one last example from it, because this is metal surfaces. It's impossible to scan. It's just the hardest thing you can imagine. And here we have this very like that these two metal surfaces. We manage as well to find a reference that's the closest and to tweak automatically the specular and the roughness and everything to make it look like the actual metal surface in the first place, which is just completely amazing. It's just, every time I see this, it's only with this new screenshot coming up. I'm like, how does it even work?
This is ridiculous, man. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, it's just this is so amazing.
So a few more examples here. It's just again a testament of that amazing research team we have here at Adobe. These people are just world-class experts in 3D and AI, and they're always coming up with just amazing stuff.
Yeah, that's actually a very good point. Like one of the good things of the joint forces between what was at Algorithmic and now Adobe is that like the research team is like 10 times bigger, and it's world-class. And if you go to SIGGRAPH and these places, you see a lot of work being done by the researchers of Adobe. And our previous research team is actually joining forces with the at-large Adobe research team. And a large part of what these guys are doing is on 3D. So the tools will benefit from that, right? The tool will include the results of that research, and that's pretty exciting. So this is why actually we didn't want to wait to show you this. We cannot wait ourselves, and we're so excited. This is incredible.
Yes, we have one more incredible thing to show today. A little bit of mystery here. And that was actually built using that new project we're going to show. If you followed our live streams and our videos, you may have seen this at SIGGRAPH last year, where basically the interface where we had a couch, had a few numbers we could punch in, and that couch would just scale and change looks and things like that. So we've been working on this for a while, and it's not a state where we can show where it is now. And what it is today is parametric modeling in Substance Designer. So what you see here on the right side is a geometry graph where we're basically building that sofa or that chair procedurally in Substance Designer, and then we're applying it procedural materials on top of it. And so here's some tweaking where we've exposed some parameters on that, and we can dynamically change the size of it and the look of it in Substance Designer. So we're not restricted to couches. We can do other stuff. And here we have, for example, grass blades that are generated, extracted from a atlas, and then we generate them, randomize them, bunch them together, apply them on the surface to create that grassy field. Here we have a much more complicated one where we're basically assembling very basic geometry elements and adding all kind of procedural processes on top of it to generate that tower. And we can create hundreds of variations of those towers by mixing those procedural geometry, procedural materials, procedural displacement, all that together. So here is a few examples of the stuff that we've been building, that the artists internally have been building. Some kind of artistic or abstract shapes, or in this case, in the middle, kind of organic vegetation. But we can also build much more complex stuff, such as the bookcases in that library that are tweakable, procedural, and can be modified in any way we want. Or these mussels, where we basically just scatter those on a curve to get those really cool results. And here, again, just some iteration on design, where again we're bringing some kind of mixing curves and geometry and different primitives and different meshes together to just create random creatures. And again, these are just experimentation that the artist team internally has been making with that tool, and they come up with the most amazing stuff. Last example, the one we were showing before, that tower, where you can see on the right side here, those shapes. These are basically the only geometric element that we imported. So we import these very simple kind of a cylinder and cone and simple shapes, and then we assemble them kind of like Substance, where you can build something entirely procedurally, but most of the time you may bring some external elements. You may bring some scans or some images or vector graphics, and then you merge all that together to make something in the end that's greater than the sum of its parts. And here, that's what we're doing as well, which is bringing the simple pieces together, and through this procedural graph, we can make something that's much more detailed and much more amazing as an output. And like Substance, we're really following the same pattern here. Like Substance, there is an authoring part, but there's also a runtime part. And we can integrate the runtime of Substance in any third-party app. We can integrate the runtime of this procedural engine in other apps. And here you can see a very simple example of a procedural 3D brush in Medium that allows us to create some really cool muscle. And this is kind of the first prototype, but it's a runtime that we could integrate in other apps as well to read and tweak procedural geometry at runtime. So that's it for our research section. Again, I just want to stress that all those things that we've been showing are nowhere near ready for release. These are things that we're working on, that we're just excited about, that we want to share with you guys, but we don't have any ETA or anything like that. We're just, it's there. We hope that it's going to be out there for you guys to try out soon, but we don't have any ETA to share at this point. Next up, and we're approaching the end of this live stream, but there's one thing I wanted to share. We announced that we're revamping Substance Share more than a year ago. It's been a while. And the good news is that it's finally there. The Substance Share 2.0 is available now. It's public now. You can go on there and you can upload your assets, share your assets. It's been rebuilt from the ground up using the source framework, so it's much faster. It's much nicer to look at. We changed the license as well. On Share, on the first version of Share, the license forced anybody who was using one of those materials or assets to give some specific credits and everything like this. This is much more permissive, so you can use these materials in any commercial product much more easily. The thumbnails are auto-generated, so you know that when you bring in the material, we'll generate the thumbnail in the cloud, super high quality, so you don't have to worry about this. It also supports the cloud 3D viewer that we have on Substance Source. So when you have a material, you can actually go in 3D and look at all the parameters and everything and try it before you download it. We also added the contributor page where you can put all your social media info, you can put a little bio if you want. And there's also donation support. So there's donate buttons, so you can donate to the creators that have been sharing some amazing stuff that you've been using in your project. So we're excited about this. There's already a few hundred assets on there, but we can't wait for you guys to see this with more content and more amazing content as time goes by. This is kind of what it looks like today with the smart materials that are available today on Substance Share. And that's it from my part. Thank you guys for listening. I'll give the slides back to Seb. There's a few more comments to make before we go in Q&A.
Thank you. Thanks, Jeremy. Super exciting stuff. I couldn't be more proud of the team first, and excited about the future. Like it's some of these things, Jeremy, you wanted to be very cautious about timing and all. Like some of this is sooner than others, and hopefully we show more of that in the products very soon now. Yes, so I wanted to mention this. Like, I don't know if you guys know it does exist. There's this community fund from Adobe. Any artist can actually apply for such a fund, and it can go up to $5,000 per project. So it's for the artists, and it's really good. So it's a creative residency. It's a form of creative residency by Adobe. I strongly invite every artist out there to apply. It's a great way to have your project funded, and it does apply to 3D artists as well. And last news today is we are hiring. We're growing. You see a picture of us in Barcelona a year and a half ago. The team has been growing since, and lately, maybe, I mean, we keep hiring like the best talent. So we're looking for amazing people, and we have the chance to be able to hire amazing people. Like latest addition has been like a Guido Coroni. Maybe you've heard of that. Guido is joining us from Pixar. He was the VP of tools at Pixar. He's now senior director of engineering for the division, 3D immersive division. So he's leading all the engineering that you're seeing now, and all the teams like producing this magic. And we're hiring more. And if you want to join, we're hiring technical artists, rendering engineers, software engineers, product managers, and soon, hopefully, I'm pretty sure we will have more and more news about that, and more open positions. All right, so that's it for me. And join us if you're interested. Super excited about this. Hope you enjoyed it.
Hey, Jeremy, awesome, man. Can you go ahead and stop sharing your screen? Thanks, Seb, Jeremy, Valeria. That was, I don't even know what to say after seeing all that stuff. I mean, like literally, it was like, I don't know. By far, my favorite is the parametric modeling in Designer. So, but now I'll try to focus. We got the Q&A session. So let's just start opening up to some questions here for that. And let's see, I'll just kind of dive in, and you guys just take them as they come in. We'll see who can answer which questions. Here's one here asking if it's possible to have a light theme of the interface, I guess, throughout the Substance applications.
Good question. We don't have plans for a light theme, but that's something that could come up at some point. I don't think we're opposed to light theme. It just hasn't been a priority until now, but yeah, that could happen.
I guess there hasn't really been many requests for that.
No, yeah.
Usually people ask for the dark theme rather.
Yeah. Is there any chance for that Substance might start an affiliate program? I'm not sure I understand that one myself, but
You maybe like some training, like program, like some kind of badges or like affiliation. I don't know. Maybe I'm just trying to understand the question myself.
Yeah, maybe it's something like I don't know, like you build plugins that can have like official stamp of that's what I was guessing. Maybe like things like that. I don't know.
Not sure.
Yeah, it's not something we have today, but we could think about it.
Yeah.
It's not something we have today. Yeah.
Okay, is there any chance there will be something like ZBrush's vector displacement maps in Substance?
There's always a chance. I don't know. What happens, but, There's no plan today, but it may make more sense with these modeling tools going further.
Are we going to get any love for 16K texture work?
It depends where. I guess it's Substance Designer. You can do 16K. You can do 16K, I believe, if you switch to the CPU engine. Substance Painter, it's a little more complicated. But I think over time, as hardware evolves and we get more powerful machine, there will likely be a point where we reach that resolution. But it's not something that we're looking at right now.
And then this question's about like projection tools. Do we have any plans for them?
We do have plans. I can't say more than that, but we do have plans.
Yeah.
Very concrete plans. But
very concrete, yeah.
Yeah. I know that's
we'll have more information about this later.
Yeah. That one's come up a bit too about, new projection modes, things like that for Painter. So yeah. Let's see. This is a good one. Any planning to add visible interactive cage for baking, similar to how like Marmoset does?
There are plans as well. Now, the thing is for these kind of feature requests or features that are typically fairly large in scope, it's hard for us to commit or to announce anything specific too early in advance. So these are things that we know of as maybe shortcomings or things that we want to improve. We can't say when that will come up, but these are things
it's good to know you guys are aware of the features. I like that you're on the spot, Jeremy. Like I get to ask the question that you're on the spot to answer.
That's why I'm not answering anything.
Yeah. Okay. Are there? It says, are you planning to add something like Photoshop's Paint Bucket tool in Painter?
Good point. I think that would be a very useful tool. It's not something we've talked about too much, but it's a good idea.
Yeah. Oh, this is a great one as well. This is actually asking for a quick smooth brush with Shift key, I guess in Substance Painter.
Or like a blur, like a quick blur.
Yeah. ZBrush, you hold Shift and you can smooth, stuff like that.
Yeah, currently the blur is a separate tool. I guess we could imagine the feature have it more built in, and less of a specific case.
Okay. Are there plans to allow the shelf to be modified from within Substance Painter, basically like deleting a texture from a project, stuff like that?
Yeah, there are plans. There are plans for everything. We have many plans. We have many plans. No, but it's something that we've been diving a little more recently, diving a little more into. So there are definitely plans. Again, I can't give any ETA, but we're aware that it's a pain and we want to improve it.
Okay. Are you going to develop iRay render options? I guess just meaning that like improvements to iRay.
I wouldn't say it's a priority right now, but again, we have many things in the works that may change the answer to that will only be able to reveal it.
Yeah. I know that's a tough one. I get it. Will there be additional movable lights like paint, spot, mesh lights, things like that? So again, kind of relates to, I know what you're thinking, but like, can we add lights in the viewport, move those around?
Yeah, we can't really see anything at this point on this.
Yeah.
Soon. Soon.
Yeah, this one, we might have this one actually. A support for new RTX cards. This is iRay doesn't work with the 30 series cards. Actually, that has been updated, isn't it?
It does now.
Okay. That's today's update,
today.
right?
Today,
yeah. Okay, will there be some... Oh, sorry, Seb.
No, it was back to your previous questions about like lighting and rendering. We haven't shown everything today, right? We haven't shown everything today. So we kept a few things up our sleeves, and during the year, expect more news and new things coming out, right? So and maybe some of them answering some of these questions.
Yeah. Will there be support for non-square textures in the UV viewport? See, visible texture, UV map with correct proportions. It doesn't say which applications. I don't know if it's Painter or Designer.
Painter. That's pretty Painter. Yeah. That's a thing that we've known for a very long time, and unfortunately that's the kind of thing that kind of always push back because there is other more pressing stuff to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're aware of it, and I'm hoping that at some point we can fix it. But yeah, I mean it's been this way since the dawn of Substance Painter. Hopefully we can at some point address that issue.
3D mouse support.
I was wondering why it didn't come up yet.
Oh, it came up. Yeah,
It's
a big ask. It's a big ask.
Yeah. Yeah, we're looking
always
at it.
Plans.
No, but we're aware that it's a big ask, and so that's something that we have in mind all the time. So we, just know that we know.
Yeah, maybe that how like it was before it was the trademark coming soon. I think the new catchphrase can be we always have plans. Or we have plans. Yeah, I like that one. What about more advanced text tool in Painter, like more fonts and so on?
Yeah, I think that's again we don't have anything to share specific, but being part of Adobe now and having access to all the technology and content that Adobe has related to fonts, it would make sense for us to improve that aspect in the future.
Oh, and this kind of ties into that as well, like a dodge and burn tool from Photoshop and Painter, please. So again, that integration, I've seen this one a lot too. Multi UV channel texturing. Do we have any ideas or plans for that?
This is a request that come fairly often typically from game studios and more advanced users who have some very specific pipelines. Again, it's not something that we'd be able to prioritize enough to release until now, but it's also something we have in our mind, and we know that we'll have to address it at some point.
Okay, this one's like with Pantone has made its way into SD. What about like swatches in Painter or like a swatches library?
Yeah, that's part of the things that we're looking at closely. Again, it's just sharing a little bit of our internal process. Typically, we're very agile in the way we build things. So that's why, and sometimes I see people complaining on the internet that we don't share in advance enough what's going to be in this next build and whatever it's going to be this year. It's just that our process is very agile, and we change the way we build things and what we build fairly often based on priorities and what's going on around us and what's going on internally and what the feedback is. So all those things are that we're talking about right now are part of that bucket where we know we want to do them. We just need to make sure we end up with a bucket that's doable for like the next quarter, the next 6 months. And so it's hard to know in advance which of these are going to end up in the next 6 months and the next year, but they're definitely part of that bucket of things that are on our plate and that we want to put in the tool.
Awesome, Jérémie. I have a note here to talk about the survey. This is coming from Marine. So Marine, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna talk about the survey. So she says, just talk about share the feedback. I think maybe they posted a link to a live stream, share your feedback. So again, like feedback always being like so vital to everything that we do. So of course we always want to hear everyone's feedback and so we know where to progress with the tools. So this one here is, are there any plans to merge layers? This is talking about Painter.
This one is a tough one, just because the architecture of Painter is not really built for that kind of action. To merge those layers, which in Painter, those layers already they're not baked down images. They're a bunch of actions that result in whatever you see in the layer. Merging them means converting that series of action into an actual baked down image. And Painter's architecture is not really built for that kind of stuff. So it's more complex than it looks. That's the only thing I can say really, is that it's, yeah.
Will there be better support for ZBrush, pushing and updating tools direct from ZBrush into Painter?
I think it's something we've looked at also the past few years. Again, it's something that we've never got around to do just because of priority and resources, and it's just hard to have all this. We have all these priorities and we have to choose. But definitely the workflow of ZBrush is one thing that we'd like to improve.
Do you guys see a possibility in Substance Share becoming a paid community marketplace instead of just free materials?
No, it's not the goal. The goal is for Share to remain like something free for the community, by the community. Leave it there. We might have options for for marketplace type of things in the future. We're working on something with plans as well. But Share itself, like at least for now, we have no plans to change anything. Like it's something that we did build for the community, really. I know marketplace is super useful for the community as well. We want to have that. So will it be combined? We don't know yet, right? So it's very early in the process anyway. But yeah, we're working on a marketplace, and I mean, we're looking into how to do that properly, right? And so if we want to do it, and how to do it if the answer is yes.
Oh, this one's interesting. A Photoshop integration in Substance.
There may be things in the works. We'll leave it at that.
Oh, let's see. Well, another Photoshop. Is there any chance to have actions like in Photoshop to like assign hotkeys or some operations?
That would actually be really cool. I don't know how hard it is to integrate that into our tools, but I would really love that.
Yeah. This one's really good as well. It's asking like any chance for anchors, like, in Substance Painter, rework to be more rememberable. Basically, I think generally like anchors, I mean, it's amazingly powerful. I use it like all the time, but I mean, we haven't really done anything with it since it's come out. Or do we have any plans for I guess reworking or optimizing it?
I think we would want to, and we've had some users kind of do the work for us and propose new designs to make it more easier to use. And I think these are really good ideas that we may steal at some point. But yeah, we know that it's not the most practical and easy to remember thing. And there's progress to be made on the user experience on the site. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep firing these guys out at you guys. So another one is average normal and non-average normal fixing by painting mask on mesh on bake in SPSD, like in Marmoset. So basically, how we have that the ability to paint mask to fix the distortions SD. Do we see that coming to Painter?
I would like to. There's a strong push internally to have that because it's just very useful in general in that workflow. It's kind of linked to the question before about cages and just having some kind of interaction during the bake process or before the baking process.
We're definitely thinking about it. Yeah.
This one here is like basically like a feature request, but I just want to make it visible to you guys. It says, will comma to decimal conversion come to Substance Designer text fields? Basically, they're saying like while entering comma values to text fields, it should convert automatically. So that's one we could probably share with like Nicholas and both.
That seems like an easy small improvement for future release.
Yeah. I'll make a note of that to send to Nicholas. Let's see here. Any plan on giving the possibility of creating templates that could be reused over multiple assets in Substance Painter? Almost sounds like a smart material sort of.
Yeah, because you could use smart materials. I guess we don't have. I would say we don't have proper automation tools in Substance Painter like we have with Substance Designer, with the Substance Automation Toolkit. And that's something that may come as we grow that Python API in Substance Painter. That's something that could be part of it in the future.
Okay. Any plans for Substance Days 2021? Maybe online?
Yeah, most probably online, like at least for the time being. We have, well, if somebody knows when we will resume this in real life events, like I'm for one, I'm craving for it. I cannot wait. We've been stuck for so long, but yeah, I mean, like as soon as possible, as soon as we can. So expect more online events like this one, and maybe a Substance Days event online as well. Definitely have plans for something like this, but we have also plans for something in real life as soon as it is possible.
Yeah, I think as soon as it's safe, we just
Yeah.
we've been missing, like the years before, we've always at GDC at SIGGRAPH every event we can, and it's really something that I think everybody here has been missing a lot, that human connection with everybody. So I think as soon as it's safe to resume those events, we'll just we have runs every week or something
That will make it the biggest party. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Will there ever be 8K viewing in Substance Painter?
It's likely. I can share a little secret. We have it working internally, and we've run some betas. We're still not fully happy with the performance, so it's not available in the release yet. But it's something we're toying with, and it should happen at some point.
This is a great one too. Pen tool, spline tool. Is it coming?
We have plans. No, yeah. No, it again, it's one of those features when we look at it and how it could bring, it would bring so much more value to Substance Painter. So we know it's really important. It's just a matter of finding the time to do it. But yeah, it would be a really amazing addition to the tool.
Yeah, and I think as you kind of said earlier, Jeremy, with the connection with other applications like Photoshop, Illustrator, we have access to some pretty awesome libraries of tools that we can help lift that. This question was asking if there's any love for the eGPUs for the Mac.
Unfortunately, not today. Yeah, can't really say much more than that. But yeah, it's been complicated to get those working with the tools. We have plans to have better support for the Mac platform in general. Being the Mac platform is a huge part of Adobe's user base, so it makes sense for us to support it better and to have a closer relationship with Apple on this side. But there's nothing specific we can share.
No, it's in the works. It's more than plans. It's in the works, definitely, to support Apple devices better.
Okay, awesome. Let's see. More HDRI maps library in Substance Painter.
We'll have good stuff at some point.
Yep.
That we will be able to talk about soon. But yeah, there are definitely concrete plans on this front.
Oh, this is perfect here. Is there any chance to get a proper color picker in Substance Painter, at least the same as Designer? Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Please.
Any plan to make Substance Painter file size smaller? Versioning SP files into a server is huge nowadays.
Yeah, there has been some. Oh, do you want to go ahead, Valéria?
Yeah, I was going to say there has been progress on that already with the summer release, and I think we reduced it by something like between 30 and even 60%, depending on file. So yeah, we are always looking at anything that is optimization and performance related. I think that's quite important to us, and that's one of the reasons that we didn't go ahead with the release of 8K, because it just wasn't perfect. So.
Yeah, this is a great idea here. It's like asking about materials global scale. Like maybe like imagine like you have like like a layer group from a smart material. Maybe on the layer group, if you could set like a global scale of the material, that would be really awesome.
Yeah, it's a request we get fairly often. There's multiple ways to deal with it. We're not settled on one yet, but it would make sense. Yeah.
Yeah, and then this one is kind of going back to basically adding plans of, let's see, are there plans of adding something like commit to texture buttons so that added height normals can instantly be affected by smart materials?
Yeah, I think that's linked to the rework of the anchor points, really, because it's basically having that link between that real-time link between different parts of the layer stack. And ideally, we can kind of solve these two issues at the same time.
Yeah. Okay, so this one's asking, since we showed a VR Painter demo at Unite in 2019, and we haven't heard anything since, has Adobe abandoned VR surfacing?
Definitely not.
Not at all. Yeah, no. No, it's just
No.
taking time. It's just taking time. It's just a matter of priorities again. Like, no, we like to show the things that we're working on because it's it's a live thing, right? It's an evolving organism, which evolves also according to the needs and what works, what doesn't work, the market fit, and the overall fitness of the features in the product. So it's the living thing. Definitely, there's a lot happening, as you can tell. We have planned for everything. We know some of that is missing. If we were like 10 times bigger, maybe we could do 2 times faster. I'm not even sure it would be 10 times faster anyway. But yeah, many things that are in the works, many things that evolve, and VR is definitely a surface that we are interested in. Like proof is Medium joined the family of products, and we know VR brings something special to when you're creating in 3D. There is no so many barriers between you and your creation. You're actually with it, so it's super powerful. Now, like for surfacing, we feel like the hardware is not there yet, right? So it's not like you don't have the visual quality. I think we were required to do proper surfacing work with Substance Painter. For shaping, tool like Medium is perfect.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just kind of going through the list too. Thank you, Seb, for your answer there. Let's see. This one, let's see. Do we have any plans for a Meat Mat 3 contest?
Have any plans? I mean,
no plans, but
planned
that
right
will
now,
happen.
but definitely happen at some point.
That will happen.
Yeah, I know that the events team they all really greatly enjoyed that contest, creating it and stuff. So it has a lot of love and has a special place in our hearts in the team. So yeah, it's fun. I'm sure that'll happen. Oh, I love this question. Substance merchandise. Can we get
Yes,
we
please.
need some stuff. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I want the Substance logo shirt with "We have plans" underneath of it. I want that one. I'm gonna put that one.
For the S for Substance, like with the beginning of soon, right?
Yeah.
Substance, we should
we
make
have
that
plans. Yeah, I have to make that shirt for myself.
We do.
Any plans for Alchemist to improve the tiling? It says when using Aeon textures that have already been made seamless.
Yeah, for the tiling again, we haven't shown it today because there's just too much stuff to show. We don't have, but there's definitely a lot of progress being done on tiling and in research, and we have some really promising stuff happening. So you can expect better tiling in Alchemist at some point. Yeah.
All right. Okay. This one, I'm shifting gears back up to Substance Painter. So this one was asking about plans for the geometry mask by shells of the same mesh. Says, like polygon tool, but with hiding stuff. Okay, yeah. So like right now it's masking by mesh part, but like what if I want to select like a few faces or something? Can I hide that way? Do you guys see that expanding with the geometry mask?
I don't want to say anything without talking to my lawyer first, or to the engineers first.
Talking to your lawyer, okay.
No, and we need to. I mean, I wouldn't want to say anything before asking the engineers if that's actually possible. I'm gonna get yelled at.
Let's see. Okay, any fixes for UV seams with blur coming?
Oh, that's really complicated because that means the blur we do in Substance Painter anywhere is a 2D blur. So UV space. 3D space blur that would respect seams. It's extremely expensive in terms of computation. It's not something we've looked at too much. It is really really hard. I don't think there's any tool in the market that actually does it. It's really really hard.
This question's good. Are there any plans to add nodes in Designer to work with splines? Would be very useful to create flow maps, tile patterns along it, like stitches, stuff like that.
Well, what I'll say is that the new geometry graph relies heavily on curves and splines, so that it is in there in some way. How the texturing graph and the geometry graph kind of work together on this point is still to have to see, but there's definitely a lot of it that's there with that geometry graph.
Yeah. And let's see here. We need to cut here in just a bit. So I'll take just a few more questions. Let's see. Oh, okay. So this question saying Painter is amazing tool. So thank you for that. Any plans to add voxel-based sculpting in the future? Substance is much more user-friendly than ZBrush.
That's medium.
That would be medium, yeah. And some of the amazing stuff that the medium team is working on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I know it's hard for you guys because I'm watching.
I know,
it's like,
right? It's sometimes.
And I've seen stuff, and you're just like, I know what you guys have in your head right now. So it's like, it's hard. You can't say anything, but yeah. Let's see. Just trying to. Oh yeah, but this is. What about UI scaling in Quad HD 4K monitors? Shelves are either super small or too big. Was that something that you guys were working on, like fixing?
If you have info on that, Valeria, I think there was a limitation of the framework we use, right? I don't know if it's been fixed or if that's something we can improve now, or if it's still an issue. Not sure. I would have to check with the team again, because I know there was some kind of limitation that prevented us from scaling as granularly as we want. I don't know if that's something that we can do now.
Yeah, this question here is asking about plans to export a model from Designer to Painter to Paint Mask and then bringing it back. So, but I think in a more general terms, talking about the interop between our applications, do we have plans to improve that?
Yeah, there's a lot of work going on right now for interop. I can't say much more, but there's definitely it's one of our big focus right now.
No, that's great.
In general, interop between the different tools.
Okay, guys, and maybe I'll just hit one more question here if I could find something. Let's see. This was another Substance Painter question. This is asking for any chance to have the ability to tweak values and changing blend modes of a layer on multiple channel in a tab, so we don't have to wait thumbnail generations to tweak it.
So there's actually, if I'm not mistaken, we had a prototype working on this like a couple of weeks ago. An engineer was like, "Oh, I did this in my free time, and it just works."
Yeah, we spoke about it internally, and one of the devs was like, "I'll just try it." So yeah, maybe we'll have the opportunity to slip it in somehow in our packed schedule, but no promises yet.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
The gap between it's working internally and it's shippable is always much bigger than you expect. So it's working internally, so we know it's visible. Now we need to make sure that we can ship it in a way that makes sense.
Gap is especially big for the UI usually.
Well, great, guys. So thank you so much. So yeah, we'll go ahead and end the QA, and actually we'll move to just kind of closing out our stream now. So I definitely just want to thank Seb, Valeria, Jérémie for hanging out with me today. This was awesome stream. It's really, really cool stuff. I also wanted to send like a special shout out to everyone on the team. I mean, we all can't be here on the stream together, so we have our entire team, and some of them may be watching or they're back hard at work. And I just want to throw a shout out to all you guys and everyone. Everyone on the team is vital member, and we're such a large family, and there's basically no magic without you. So it's just special love to all you guys out there. Also, special thanks to our community. We're thrilled that you all joined us today. The future is really bright, and we have much more coming. And so with that, you guys have any closing statements? Seb, Val, Jeremy?
Thank you for hosting.
We have plans for
Always
statements.
A pleasure.
Yeah, you have plans for statements. We'll get them next time.
No, but thank you, Wes. That was awesome, and thank you, Mike, Tao, Vanessa, and everybody in the team, and Maureen. And this is great. Yeah, I agree with you. We're fortunate, and I couldn't be more proud and of what the team has been doing, what we're working on, about what the community is producing. It's really something, right? We don't do that for nothing, and it's by passion, and that passion is still here and very much alive.
We can't wait to show you guys more stuff next time.
We have more stuff.
Every live stream like this is a pleasure for us. It's so cool to finally share, that stuff that we've been keeping to ourselves for months. So we can't wait for the next one.
Yeah, definitely.
We have a live stream coming.
Exactly. Yes, I'm supposed to say that. Or Marine will kill me. So yes, the next live stream is with Pierre Flo. It's early, coming soon, February 4th. He'll showcase his Industrial Revolution themed signature collection for Substance Source. So yeah, we have a lot of live streams planned for the year as well. So there's lots of communications coming. So with that said, just thank you, everyone. Stay safe, and we will see you next time. Take care. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Take care.
Bye.